Let's start off with Ron Paul and his thoughts about FEMA.
In 1900, before FEMA, the local people rebuilt the city, built a seawall, and they survived without FEMA. And FEMA is not a good friend of most people in Texas because all they do is come in and tell you what to do and can't do. You can't get in your houses, and they hinder the local people, and they hinder volunteers from going in. So there's no magic about FEMA. It's a system of bureaucratic central economic planning, which is a policy that is deeply flawed. So no, you don't get rid of something like that in one day. Matter of fact, I've had this position for a long time, and the people kept re-electing me, and I have a coastal district.
So Ron Paul and his supporters often complain that they don't get enough media attention, but we're fixing that today.
We are.
And he's been on TV a lot lately. He's actually polling in 4th place in a lot of places, Kimberly. Do you think that we're missing something that he could actually pull ahead?
Look, I don't think we're missing something. Ultimately, I don't think he's going to be able to get the Republican nomination, nor do I think that he's going to be the third-party candidate. I don't think he has that idea in him specifically. Do I think he thinks he can get it? Yes. And we've covered him quite a bit on this show. This is another statement. It's not a surprise. This is a guy who really can't stand bureaucracy and, useless institutions that he thinks waste money and create dependency. He's putting FEMA in there with it. He's got some points, if you go back to what we're talking about states becoming more, independent and providing for emergency relief so that they're ahead of the game instead of always relying on the federal government as a crutch.
Greg, do you think that there's an undercurrent in the country of people who agree with Ron Paul and increasingly think, well, actually, I don't disagree with him?
Yeah.
Do you think that there's still like a little stirring of support for him?
It's tough because every time when I hear what he says, I agree with almost everything, but I just look at him and I go, that's not my guy.
Right. You want to go on Libertarian Island with him.
I want to go on Libertarian
yes.
and be left alone. But I mean, like, even with FEMA, I get what he's talking about. I mean, it's like, we don't necessarily need this. And he makes sense, but I don't know. I think it's time for someone else to carry the
I think it's time if he wants to do it with FEMA, I want to do it with Ron Paul. I mean, maybe that would be a fair swap, I think. Look, this guy, what you talk about, this hurricane went through several states. 25 or 30% of the population in the United States was affected. It is a national deal. It is not a state deal. You don't leave these things up to the state. If it's up to Ron, you leave it up to the city council of Bazooka.
He's actually, at least he's got the courage of his convictions. He actually voted against money in his own district when they had it.
Yes, he
His
did.
convictions, Dana, are so extreme. I mean, he is like...
What?
They're
You're using the word extreme?
Look,
You invented the word
here's the guy
extreme.
who says, okay, the Fed is outdated. We don't need a Fed. We have to go back to the gold standard. Sorry, it just can't happen. There's not enough gold on the planet to do that. Number two, he says FEMA should be held on the state level. I don't disagree with that. But then you take it one step further, and he says the only borders we need to secure are our own. So in other words, we're going to leave Israel out there hanging in the Middle East, and once you start delving into foreign policy, he falls apart.
Eric, can you help Bob's chin up
to
off the floor?
Convulse. I don't know.
Okay,
I want to ask you one follow-up question, Kimberly.
Let's capture that film and rerun it.
In Florida, one of the most sacred things
Congratulations.
is the Everglades. And
Yes.
it was interesting today that Michelle